Welcome back to another episode of Father Time with De'Meco and Blair, a podcast where dads talk about balancing fatherhood, relationships, careers, and passions. I'm De'Meco, the resident dad to a wackadoo toddler, and this week we were frolicking. We went to the tulip farm and we were frolicking,
Yes, sir.
And it was beautiful.
Yes, sir. And I'm your play partner and host of most, your country cousin, Sir Winnie, aka Blair, father to a 7-year-old whirlwind who just showed me today that she can draw TV characters on cue, like no copying. She just drew Shigo, and I think I'm gonna put it up here next week. It'll be up. Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And today, on today's episode of Father Time, we have the host of The Cut. We have actor, musician, hip hop artist, Lil Nutsack in the building. We got Jacques Slade up in here, dog. How are you doing today, brother?
What up? I'm doing well, man.
Hey, you the king, baby. As you can see, we did a little deep dive.
Yeah, y'all, wow. Well, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it. Looking forward to having this chat. Being a dad, I'm always excited to talk about these badass kids. So
I think we got the first parent on here who's going to talk real like I talk about my baby. So I'm excited. The first question that we usually like to give to people is, who are your top 5 fictional fathers?
My top 5 fictional fathers. I don't even know if there's really 5 on TV that like I related to in that way, but I think it would have to be like Bill Cosby. Like as terrible as it is to say, because of all the actual Bill Cosby stuff, but Mr. Huxtable, the character, I mean, you can't really. I don't think there's any father that you can really compare to him. Just because of what he represented, like the aspirational kind of father that he was, the job that he had, the way he treated the kids, the comedy, like all of those things. Like Mr. Huxtable is that guy. At least he's that guy for me. Like I can't even think of any other fathers that really kind of amounted up to what he meant as far as like he was the only person that, the only character that I was like, damn, that's a cool ass dad. Just part of it was like it was the discipline and the comedy, but because I was such a creative kid and like music and writing songs and being an artist, like all that stuff was kind of part of who I was as a child. So to see a parent on TV kind of cultivate that, like whether it worked out or not, like the tap dance episode, like where he was tap dancing against the guy, like that's always in my head. Like the song when Rudy was singing the soul song coming down the stairs, like that. Yeah, when Theo made like the ugly shirt, like like all of those like creative parts, like he was able to really incorporate that like that creative side of his children, and that always kind of stuck with me as a kid that was like trying to write songs and trying to be creative and wanted to be an actor, wanted to be a movie star, like all of those things, that creative part of me, like that's what attracted me to him more than anybody else.
That's actually a conversation that we have had during our production meetings. Like, which guest is going to bring up Bill Cosby or Huxtable, like Dr. Huxtable?
Yeah, the character Dr. Huxtable. Like, if there's a way to separate the character Dr. Huxtable and who Bill Cosby is, like that's like Dr. Huxtable all the way. I'm not saying Bill Cosby the person. I'm saying Dr. Huxtable the character. 100%.
Sure.
Now, like it's probably more in reality. Like the family life was more James Evans, but that's just that's just the reality of circumstance.
It's interesting that you bring Dr. Huxtable up, because in my head I was like, man, I remember watching that, and he was having very real conversations, and I remember him talking to Theo about like living on his own and like money, and like, all right, this is what you get. All right, well now you've got to pay for food. All right, well then I'll eat, like all like really breaking it down. There were some real dad gems in that show, and like Blair was saying, like the history of that show kind of gets tarnished with his own personal history, which is unfortunate, because it was a really good show. As many of our audience members and some of your followers may not know, like you're a dad. I didn't know that
Yeah.
until Ube on our first season mentioned you as a person we should have on the podcast, and yeah, I was like, oh, is he?
We
I didn't know he
we
was dead.
te-
All right,
we,
let
we
me reach
text each
out.
other during the episode. Was like, is he a dad though? Question mark.
Is Ube
And see,
crazy?
I was like,
Yeah.
what's Ube drinking over there?
Yeah. So please tell us how many kids you do have and their age range.
So this is going to shock a lot of people because a lot of people don't know this. Because I choose to keep my family separate from my social media life. Um, just because I don't want them to have to deal with any of the things that they don't want to deal with. Um, they reap the benefits. Trust me, they have a nice house. They got food on their table. Like they have the tangible parts of what I do. They reap the benefits of that. The social side and the clout, they're honestly not interested in it, and I don't want to drag them into it at all. I say all that to say this is actually going to reveal how old I am. So I have a 33-year-old, I have a 24-year-old, and I have a 22-year-old.
Like don't crack.
Actually, wait, 34, 24, and 22. Sorry.
No, that is
Yeah.
wild, brother. You do not look like you're supposed to have a child that's 33.
Yeah, yeah. Most people don't. No one knows unless you're like really close to me. Good again, just not something that I talk about online. Like I'm actually a grandfather. I have two grandkids.
Ooh.
That adds a layer of, because as far as the dads that we've had on, I think Patrick Hardy is the only father who has had the oldest child, which was like 16. Yeah. So we haven't had a dad that is able to talk to life after, let's say, that college age, of being an adult, of parenting adults. So yeah, that opens up a whole range of questions on how. I mean, yeah, we're looking at you like, all right, how do
I do
deal
this?
with what we're doing now?
How do I do this?
Like my daughter's only like my daughter's still old enough where she's okay with us frolicking in tulip farms. Like she's only 16 months, so like I'm new to the game.
And mine is looking at me like, why are you trying to get me to do things with you? I think you're corny.
Oh, bro, I'll be wanting to punch their asses in the throat.
God, yes.
I'm not there.
I love her to death. That's the crazy part. I love this. I
Yeah.
love this human so much. She looks like me. Hell, the attitude that she gives me is mine. But it's like,
you love them and hate them at the same time. Like you love them and hate them at the same time. You'd be like, yeah. You'd be like, I need all the Lord. I need the Lord and all his angels.
Michael,
I need grace.
Michael, come help me. All of it.
Yes, come help the boy because
it's like, how was it raising a child through the different eras of Black culture? I would say, me personally, I have a mixed child. So my daughter she's still like figuring out the realism of life and like being Black. And like, because if you ask her, she says that she's not like brown or light skinned. She's not Black. She says that she's like golden. Like she thinks her skin color is golden. I'm like, that's a perfect answer.
Right.
But your nose, your curly hair, you's a nigga. So how was it for you? And where did you raise your children, and how was it raising your children in the Black culture in that area?
So we're in LA, 100% LA folks are the Valley technically, for those that are actually in LA, because they'll be like, that ain't LA, yeah. So that ain't LA, dog. So they didn't grow up in the same neighborhood that I grew up in, so their life experience is definitely different from mine. So they definitely have a more worldly perspective, and being around non-black people is more part of their everyday life. Not that I wasn't around them, that I wasn't around other people, but like my neighborhood was mostly black people. The church I went to was mostly black people. Like the ball, when I played ball, it was all black people, like that kind of thing. Um, so they grew up in a different environment from that, and they experienced some of the things in bits and pieces, not as concentrated as obviously we did when we were growing up, which is great though, because, you know, it gives them a different perspective on life and it gives them a different perspective on their
Yeah,
opportunities and on the things that they can do. And it, in my mind, it goes, okay, all the things that the people before me did and all the things that we wanted to do to make life better for them, it's working.
yes,
And we see it. We see those that, you know, in a sense, those generational curses are starting to be broken and they'll be able to walk through those doors in an entirely different way than when I walked through
for
those
sure.
doors, which is amazing and which is really what you want for your kids, for them to have better opportunities and better life than what you had. And I think they're going to absolutely have that.
And I think for myself, that's where my, I guess, like interpersonal battle comes, because I do want her to have some type of grit. Um, we live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Oregon, so Oregon is not necessarily the kindest state to people that look like me, but to people that look like her, it's a little bit easier for her to maneuver things. So um, I'm just trying to, like I said, it's an inner battle. It's an interpersonal battle for myself. Like, do I like sit her down and extra militant like Black Panther her? So I don't want to do that to her, but like my wife and I, we've worked hard, and her mom has worked hard to make sure that she doesn't have to live the same battles that we did. So it's a great pain to have. I would say it's a great struggle to have, is just teaching her or teaching our children.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what it is. Really, you'll be able to first, they're not going to listen to anything we have to say anyway. That's just the nature of the
Yeah,
beast. But providing them with insight and information that they can have, and even though you think they're not listening, they're listening.
mhm.
They act like they don't care. They act like they don't want to know, just like we act like we didn't care and act like we didn't want to know. But as we get older, all those gems that our parents were giving us, we start to see them come into reality. So I would say give her the information. Give her the information. It's not You're not giving her an action to take, but you're just giving her the information and allowing her to process that on her own.
For sure. I appreciate that. That's great advice. Hey, it's a lot.
Yep.
They tell you not to meet the people that you like, bro. Like, meet these motherfuckers. They don't.
No, yeah. Look. I am. We all out here just trying to do the best we can, doing the best we can with the best we
Yes,
have.
sir.
We all have baggage. We all have past trauma that we bring into our relationships and past trauma that we unintentionally pass on to our kids. So it's not like I'm nowhere near perfect. I'm just trying to be the best dad that I can with the skills that I have and keep building on those skills and being better and being able to acknowledge like, hey, look, I was wrong about this and I approached this with you the wrong way. So this is how it probably should have been done. But now you're old enough to understand that and we can have that conversation.
Man, De'Meco.
Bro, we not even 20 minutes in. He had already dropped a dad gem. I love it. Yeah, we had talked about it earlier in our first season. I believe it was an episode with Chris Whitehead. Shout out T Up Kicks with Chris. We talked about how like Blair and my dad, like when they were when we were young, probably weren't around a group of men, a group of other dads that were talking about fatherhood other than this damn pain in the ass over here, or hey,
Mm,
my son just did this. Like whether you were bragging or ragging on your kid at the barbershop, there was no in between. There was not a hey, how are you doing this with your child, being a product of an interracial relationship in the late 80s, early 90s. My dad and mom weren't talking about, hey, how are we going to raise De'Meco in being a Black and Filipino man and navigate what that may mean. I'm just now unpacking that type of baggage with everything that happened 2019, 2020. That is something that I'm currently dealing with. So I don't pass that on to my daughter. And
right.
like you were just
Yeah.
talking, like we all have our baggage, we all have our trauma. We do our best to not hand that off to our kids. Obviously, some things kind of slip through the cracks and things kind of trickle down that way, but we try our best. And like what
Yeah.
Blair was saying is like, you're never not dad. We're all just out here just doing the very best like we can. And we hope our kids can see that. Like I know for me, I just hope at the end of the day, my daughter knows my dad was doing their best. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And like I like to, as I've gotten older, I like to think about my parents and the shortcomings that I perceived in my parents, and and not really look at it as shortcomings that they had, but look at it as they were doing the best job that they knew how to do.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to take anything away from that, to be like, you didn't do this, or you didn't give me this, or you didn't give me that, it it's a disservice to all the things that they did
Yep.
give me and all the things that they did provide for
Yep.
me.
1,000%.
So I try not to look at it as a failure or things that they failed at doing. Look at it as they were doing the best that they knew how with the resources that they had to do those things.
Okay.
And that even goes for like people that, when that parents weren't around, like you might be a little more thankful that they weren't there, because I mean,
That's
just keep it
honest.
above,
Yeah. That's
because
real.
they may
That's
not
real.
have been, they may not have had the tools to really nurture you and grow you the way and turn you into the person that you are now. And you, by trying to go back on that, you take a risk that they could have really fucked you up. Like you may think, oh, I got problems now, or I hate this and I hate that now. But if them being there, the relationship, I mean, even from down to the relationship they had with your mother, or the
Mm-hmm.
relationship they had with your father, the relationship that they have with your favorite auntie, the relationship they have with your grandmother, your grandfather, your uncles, all those relationships play into who you are and how you perceive life and how you perceive family. And by you trying to like shoehorn them into those situations, you could possibly do more harm than good, because you wanted this fairy tale version of what life was. Like I myself, like I grew up with my mom and my stepfather, and I didn't grow up with my
Mm-hmm.
actual dad. My actual dad and my mom didn't get back together until I was like 25 or 26 or something like that. Like they got back together and ended up getting married, and now they're still married. Now they're married and together now. And I I felt the way about that. I honestly I felt a way about
Mm.
that, because I'm like, wait a minute, 25. What? Like I'm grown now. Like y'all too late. Like y'all like
We ain't having no more Christmases like
yeah,
that.
like Christmas is over. Like the birthdays is gone. Like the basketball games
Ain't
are
no more
done. Like
He-Man cartoons we can watch together.
is
Like, what are you
over.
talking about?
Yeah, none of that stuff is here now. And it had to, I had to come to the realization that, you know what, maybe it just wasn't meant for that to be the situation. And and also, maybe their marriage ain't about
Mm.
me.
Say that. Say that.
Yeah.
Cause we said
So
that. I
like,
said that in season 1. I said that in season
Yeah.
1,
yeah,
bro. You got
yeah, their marriage. The time that I had, when I spent the night when I was young, and then they ended up getting back together. Like maybe them getting back together literally has zero to do with me, and more to do with them finding people that they could be with for the rest of
yeah.
their lives, and that they're going to be together. Someone that was going to hold each other. They were there to hold each other up. I'm grown now. Like nigga, you grown. Like what are you complaining about?
Get out of this
Like, why
house.
are you in my
Why,
house
when I'm in
Yeah,
the
arguing
kitchen,
with
you
me?
yeah,
always in the
Why are you
fridge?
trying to argue with me right
yeah,
now,
Eating up
boy?
all
Get
the
out of
food.
here.
yeah. So like it's it's a tough thing to swallow, because you're an adult, but you're still a child. You're still their
Yep.
child at the end of the day. And you look at you look through all the bad things that happened as a result of them not being together, the struggles that your mom went through, the struggles that your dad went through, the places that they ended up going and coming back, and all of that. And you really try to play God in the
Yep.
situation, and really if that was the plan, if you're really gonna play God, if you're really gonna follow your faith, like if that was the plan, then the plan would have went that way. But that obviously wasn't the plan. The plan was for them to go through what they needed to go through, so that when they got to a certain age, they would link back up again, get married, and be providers for each other, provide each other with the support that they need, not the support that Jacques needs, because Jacques doesn't need that support anymore. Jacques got a job. Jacques got his own place to
Jacques got
stay.
bills now.
Jacques, Jacques got bills
Jock
now.
paying for his yeah, he paying for his own insurance now.
Yeah. I got my own insurance. I got to pay my own
Yes,
gas bill.
sir.
um, what you had just talked on, it was so beautifully said. It really summed up what we said in our last episode of season 1, where we were giving our parents, or at least for me, I was giving my parents grace in reflecting on my childhood of like they did the best they can with the tools that they had, and literally said basically the same thing as like, if my mom and dad were together during my childhood would have been vastly different. I wouldn't have the relationship I have with my mom now. That relationship with my dad might be different. My relationship with my siblings may be different. I may not have siblings. I don't know. Like it could be a whole thing. But in that episode, Blair actually talked about his love language, words of affirmation from his daughter, and that appreciation. It kind of goes hand in hand of reflecting on your parent as an adult. When did you really kind of accept that and like see them as individual humans versus that's mom and dad? And when do you think that happened for you and your kids, where they saw you not as, hey, that's my dad, but like as Jock, as a man?
God, that's a great question. I don't I don't know if I've fully made that transition with my parents. Like I see them as humans, as individuals, but I still there's still like the mom and dad part of me. Like I still like when I pull up, like I know my mom's gonna have like orange candy in the jar for me. Kind of, you know what I mean? Like on the that's sitting on the bar in the kitchen. Like I know she's gonna be like, oh, I got these, I got the orange slices for you. They're in the kitchen. Like so that like that I don't know if I've ever I'm I don't know if I will ever fully separate that. Like I think I'm old enough to realize that they're humans, but the child part of me that's still there and that's always going to exist is is still going to be there. I don't think that's ever going to go away. I don't think that's ever going to separate. And I mean, I think it's the same and the same with my kids. I don't, you know, yes, I think they see us as they start to see us as individuals, at the age that they are, but they're still kids. Like my wife is still like the the mom, like still the super loving, gonna take care of these kids regardless of what happens. Like like the house could burn down and she's gonna run back inside to save them. Like she's like that's the kind of mother that she is. And so I don't know if there's ever gonna be a full separation of that. At least not for me. Maybe some people can separate that and see it as different, but I don't think there's ever a separation of that for me. There's the thought, the logically I see it, and logically I tell myself about it and I think about it and I process things through that. But there's a inner child in me that just like that's my mom.
Yeah, yeah. Dukes
Kind
will
of
never
thing.
be not Dukes. Like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
always that's my mommy. I see her and that's mommy, bro. Like, I turned into 11-year-old Blair all over again. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
100% without question.
love you, girl.
I get that. I get that.
Uh,
I get that.
so I wanna transition to the dad, or into the man, not just the dad. I kind of touched on it in the intro. Musician, producer, music composer, and then you of course your acting chops, um, your love for sneakers, the things you're doing with the PGA Tour. All of these things are what makes you you. But where did this start? Like, when did the I know you said the creative itch kicked in as you were younger, but when did you kind of like have a realization to yourself that no matter what, I'm going to try at this, and if I fail, I know I failed on my own.
Mm. Um, I mean, I guess I've tried and failed so many times that it's hard to just pick like one moment. But I think I think the moment that I realized I could do something in this creative space was when So my uncle, I used to spend the night with my cousins all the time. Me and my cousins used to spend the night like on the weekend there because we all loved basketball and we play basketball and video games. Like that's all we did. Me and my cousins during the summer, go to the Boys and Girls Club. We'd come back home, basketball, video games until the sun went down or until my aunt made us come in the house. Like that's just how we lived. And one night my uncle came home and me and my cousins were sitting listening to the radio. No, we were listening to the radio and we recorded a song on the radio and we were writing down the lyrics to the song so we could learn the lyrics to the song quicker. So we would type it, record it, and then we start writing it down. Like this is how we were going to learn the lyrics faster.
Yeah.
And my uncle came in and he kind of watched us for a little while and he was like, why y'all writing other people's words down? And we was like, oh, because we want to learn the song. And he was like, well, why don't you make your own song? And we were like, oh, we can make our own song?
You can do that? Wait,
Yeah.
we can do that?
So his challenge was he was like, hey, you guys write your own song. I'll put you in the studio so you can record it. And I think that's the moment where we realized like, oh, okay, like we can do this. Like we can let's do this. And we wrote the song, and he put us in the studio and recorded it. And I've been chasing that creative, like that musician, actor, creative side of me ever since. Like I had written songs before, but they were more like variants of songs that I had already heard that had like kind of like changed the lyric to kind of fit my situation. It wasn't like my own
Yeah.
song. And that was the first time that we did like our own song that was like just us and our experiences and not based on anything else.
Wow. That's crazy, bro. That's really wild. He was
That's
like, why
so
not?
dope.
Why not y'all do it? But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand
Like,
that itch. That bug is I mean, I did little acting classes and I tried to do modeling once, and I went to a creative arts like school. I really thought that I had like the opportunity to be like a Martin Lawrence, Will Smith combined. I saw myself as like both of the bad boys in one.
We don't need to see those modeling results.
No, we not. No.
I think those need to be like when the podcast goes live. Those need to be inserts.
Oh, okay. So you guys are trying to kill my career before you get started. Cool. Those pictures was not it.
This is the journey.
Gotcha.
This tells a deeper story. This tells a deeper story. This gives context.
Now we have to
all
do
right,
it.
All right.
Yeah, this gives context. This gives context to the man.
Boy.
So down the line, we see the journey that you went through. People love a journey. They love a story.
This is the arc. I can tell you that right now. This is the arc, baby. But no, I definitely understand you with that, bro, because I had 2 non-speaking backer bros. Like for me, it was like that little $500 and a little bit of clout that no one ever knows about was all I needed. And I've been trying to get a little gold plaque to go somewhere back here from YouTube. So one of these days it'll happen with this podcast. Yeah. So I definitely understand that. And when I see my daughter now, she, puts on little shows. She wants us to all hang around her. She puts like a crowd on in the background or like fireworks in the background. She has her stuffies around and it's like the crowd. And she puts on a show for us, or she does like her artistic thing. So for me, it's like it goes back to what you said earlier. It's like some of the things that were inside of you, whether it was good or bad, are going to trickle down to your baby. And I see that in my daughter, and it gives me like such joy. Did any of your kids hit you with like the basketball feel or like the love for sneakers or music like you have, to where like you felt that semi connection, or was it just like a no?
Man, these niggas, man.
These niggas, man. Oh yeah, let's go for
it. They couldn't care less about sneakers, first of all. Like not even remotely interested. Not even.
Dad's gonna talk to us way too much if we tell him we like sneakers.
Yeah, like my daughter, like I bought my daughter like a bunch of sneakers when she was younger, and they just literally sat in her closet. And like we gave them away probably a year or two ago. And they had been in her closet for like 5 or 6 years. And she maybe wore them once. Maybe. She's just like but that's her style. She's like, I just give me a pair of like Reebok Classics and I'm Gucci. Like that's her
There
style.
you go.
She's like an all white. She's like some Air Force Ones and she's good. I bought her like these colorful. I bought her Jades, all the things.
He's like, I can
She
get you
was
the
just like,
basic pandas. She's like, I'm
yeah.
good. All whites.
She's like, yeah, that's okay. But that's just her style. That's her thing. Like that's how she gets down. And like she played lacrosse. The boys ran track. One ran football. And then my daughter, we always go back and forth about this even to today because she had an opportunity to play basketball, and I was very much of the, you know what, if that's what you want to do, then do it. I will fully support you. But if you don't want to play, that's fine too. And nigga, she hit me with, okay then, I'm good. I don't want to play. And it was just like, you know how your heart just be like,
You,
oh.
it moves just like a semi-inch. It just moves down an inch.
It hurts to this day. And every once in a while, I give her a hard time about it. But you know, it just wasn't a path that she wanted to go
Yeah.
on. You know, she chose lacrosse. That was her thing. So I had to learn about lacrosse and encourage that. Like they draw. Like my kids draw. I can't draw for nothing. Like I can't draw a circle. They draw all kind of stuff. But that's
Yo,
their
that's
gift.
such a lot. I can't draw.
Hey, believe me, I know people. I know people like what he's talking about. So it's real.
Whoa. Hold on just a second. Before we dive any further into the episode, we got to take a quick moment to thank you, the amazing Father Time family, for tuning in. We seriously appreciate you hanging out with us and exploring the wild world of fatherhood as we try to balance it with relationships, careers, and passions, and all the glorious chaos that comes with it. Now, if we discuss something today that sparked a question or maybe even a personal story you'd like to share, don't be shy. Drop some knowledge in the comments or slide in the DMs. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, and be sure to follow us at FatherTimePod on all social media platforms for exclusive content, behind the scenes, and much, much more. You won't want to miss it. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We wouldn't want you to miss out on a single dose of Father Time wisdom or laughs. We try our best. All right, that's enough from us. Let's get back to the episode. Peace.
Yeah. That ain't my gift. I'm creative, but that like not in that
Got
way.
you.
Like that's just not, you know. So, but that's their thing, and they, you know, and you just try to encourage the thing that they do and that they love and that they're passionate about, even if it's like, even if it's not basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you be giving them the side eye every once in a while. You know, you like, you can play. I have all the
To
tools
help
to
you.
teach you, to help you
The journey
flourish
could
in
be
this
so
sport.
easy for you.
Yeah, it can be so easy
They
for you.
just see it in
And
they
be
see
like,
it in your eyes, and they're like,
yeah. They see you excited, and they be like,
it's
oh,
like this says I'm not excited, but these are like, please, my name's Amanda. It's like,
And
I'm
they're
good,
like,
brother.
I'm not gonna.
Your energy's off a little
Like,
bit.
you're not.
Yeah.
That joy is not being served
Nah,
today. So I'm sorry.
that's hilarious.
How did you? So I grew up playing golf, and my wife grew up. She played softball. She played college softball, and we always talk about our daughter, like what will her sport be, what will her thing be, and then how will we deal with when it isn't golf or it's not softball, and then balancing that with matching our child's excitement for the new activity, whether it be lacrosse or we joke like science fairs and spelling bees. I think that would be dope. But like, how did you manage that or like navigate that with going down the path of lacrosse, never knowing or never playing lacrosse?
um, and this, I mean, if we're gonna keep it a buck, I had to take my ego out of it. I just I had to take
Yeah.
my ego out of it. Like I, I wanna I wanted to see her play basketball. I wanted to see him play basketball. I wanted to see the older one play basketball. I wanted to see them do the things that I did, because I never got to the place where I wanted to get with that, and so they were that vehicle, and I had to remove myself from that and be like, look, this ain't the joy that you got from basketball. They may not get that, so you can't force that upon them. Because like I played basketball until the wheels fell off. I mean, all day long during the summer. Like we wore basketball shorts under our clothes when we went to
Just
school
in case.
because just in case, and also because we were going to play at lunch. So we would go, lunch bell would ring, we'd go play basketball and get our food and eat our lunch on the way to class after lunch, because that's just how much I loved basketball. So there was a joy to it for me that I was trying to transpose onto them.
Hmm.
And if that's not where they find their joy, then you're just being that parent kind
Your
of thing.
dance
So you
mom.
got to find, yeah, 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 yeah. You got to find the thing that you're passionate about, and that's not to say you don't push them and you don't encourage them in things, because um, I think it's amazing to teach a child a bunch of different things when they're young so they have experiences in
Hmm.
it, whether they find joy in it or not. When you're young, like I'm giving you life experience of all these different things, the social activities, the joy that's associated with winning, the hardship that's associated with losing. Like my job is to give you all of those things, both sides of that
Yeah.
equation, and how you deal with that later in life should be reflective of the experiences I was able to give you when you were young. I'm depositing
Yeah.
into your bank. So when it's time for you to spend that money when you're older and life experiences, you have that. So for golf, like I wish I would have learned when I was younger. And I think giving kids that gift young when they're young, even if they go away from it, they'll eventually come back to it. Basketball, I think the same thing. You give them the gift. If they go away from it, they'll come back to it at some point. They'll all the things. I feel like you give them those things, and they can come back to it if they're passionate about it, or if the opportunity arises, or you know, a girl you're interested in is golfing. So now you like, my daddy made me take
Hey,
golf
you know
lessons.
what? I actually do know how to
I
Let
putt.
me
love
show.
golf.
I actually love
I do know how to
this.
putt.
Yeah, you ever heard of a birdie
I can't.
girl?
You
Let
know
me
what?
show
My daddy taught me how to shot shape. I know how to make a little baby draw. Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Like all of those things. Like
I'm just saying words at this
it'll
point.
come out when it's
My bad. I'm
convenient.
just saying words at this point. Golf people.
No, it
I
was
heard.
perfect. It was great. It was great.
Did it work? Cool. I heard baby draw on the
Yeah,
course
it was
once,
wonderful.
and I was like, oh, I'm gonna say that sometime.
It was wonderful, and it worked. It worked. This was the perfect time.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Your boy don't know much about golf besides 5 putts.
That's funny.
Because I feel like my game
Talk
is
your
about to hit
shit.
a.
Yeah, talk your shit.
You know, we about
Yeah, yeah.
to.
I don't know.
then,
Like I'm at the
yeah,
precipice. I'm at the
then I'm gonna be
precipice.
living in the valley. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna be living in the valley. What type of shoes you got in your closet, white man? Let me see.
That's funny. That's
Hey,
funny.
speaking of, hold on. I know we were gonna talk about that, and I don't want to take too much of your time, bro. But how did that whole thing come about? Like, what? I know that you're a fan of
What
sneakers,
thing?
but how did you
Oh.
walked in Kev on Sage's house, cuz, and asked him about shoes? Like, how did you? I know it's like a setup, but like, how does this setup come about?
You mean just like the sneaker thing in general come about, or
The
with
whole, well,
Kevin in
not Kev in
particular?
particular, but the whole thing. Like, I saw
I
the
love.
videos of the people doing it with real estate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We,
So I started doing it with sneakers, and like this, the whole sneaker thing came about just because, again, because of through the lens of basketball. So my older cousin played basketball, and everything that he and his boys had, me and the younger cousins, we wanted the shirts, the shorts, the haircuts, the socks, the shoes, literally anything they had. We were like, Mom, I want what KC has. Can I have KC shoes? Can I have KC? And they all wore cool shoes back then. And so that kind of started my love for sneakers, just being like if they play like that in those shoes, we can play like that in those
Yep.
shoes.
Yep.
So that's really where it started for me. And then back in 2009, I started writing about sneakers, and it turned into what it is today. It's a long story, but essentially started writing about them in 2009, put up a video about them in 2010. 2013, I started doing it on my own, and that's when things really took off and put me in the position that I'm in today and able to do the things that I do now.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. It's some crazy
Thank you,
sneakers
brother.
you've ran into, and like
Yeah,
yeah, it's some ones that I've like when I was a kid. I can remember being on Flight Club NYC or Flight Club LA and dreaming about them. Hey mom, I
yeah,
know we ain't got money for the bills this month, but $700 for these pairs of Jordans right here. These would really make me run faster, jump higher, and we might get out the hood. She was
yeah.
like, "Boy, if you don't take your ass
I'm
back
just
to art
saying.
class,
Yeah, you better get out of here.
$700 for goddamn black and gold shoes." Boy.
Yeah, oh, you crazy. I'll
I
make
mean,
you those shoes for $700.
I was not much of a sneaker person growing up, so like your content kind of shed a light on what everyone was talking about when I was a kid, and like I remember some of the more iconic silhouettes as a kid. I'm like, oh, everyone was wearing Air Force Ones or whatever the shoe was. I just with what you were just talking about, like running faster, I was like, man, I remember that commercial for the Nike Shocks. I'm like, I really thought I was about to dunk with those shoes
Yo,
on.
With the Vince
like
Carters.
that marketing, especially when you young. When you young, I feel like they just be taking advantage of
Oh, they
you
know what they're doing.
because
Yeah.
like
They know who to
they
sell
know,
to.
like you see that stuff and you be like, oh, I am about to crush this. I'm about to be
Yeah.
dunking. I'm about to do it. All those things, and you get them shoes and you be like, wait a minute, these.
Yeah, you saw the video with Kobe jumping over the car, and you're like, wait a minute, I can
So
do
the
that.
Horizon 2K,
Yeah,
the 2Ks are nice, right? That's what we're buying this year. Um, so
yeah.
we usually have a secondary top 5 question with us having that small sneaker conversation and knowing kind of where everything came from. We all know that there's like the holy grail of sneakers and like the people who have like the top silhouettes. If you could give somebody a Mount Rushmore pack, like a starter pack of Mount Rushmore sneakers to get themselves into,
Mm.
doesn't have to be a specific brand, doesn't have to be old, doesn't have to be new. Just what you are feeling and what you think might work out for a good starter pack for the first person who
A good
wants to be a sneakerhead.
starter pack.
Well, I'm taking notes on
Um,
this one. I'm about to go to the store.
I think the first one would be a pair of Converse Chuck Taylors. I feel like it's such a classic shoe that you can wear anywhere. So I think that should be a part of every collection. Um, and that's kind of interchangeable with a pair of Vans, I
Got
think.
you.
So I think a pair of Chuck Taylors or a pair of Vans, I would lean more in the Chuck Taylor square than I would in the Van square. Um, I feel like a pair of Jordan ones. Is really up to you the colorway. Obviously, the black and red is probably the most universal that people wear. You can kind of see people wearing that with anything. Um, a pair of I think a pair of shell toes is always a good something to have in your collection to kind of help round things out. A pair of even also like a pair of Stan Smiths, like a pair of white Stan Smiths is like a good sneaker to kind of that you can dress up, you can dress down, because it's white. You can kind of wear it in a couple of different places and a couple of different. And then what's another one? Um, what's another good one? I mean that next spot is kind of mixed. I would tailor that last one based on what the person does, like athletically.
Okay.
Like, do they work out? Do they play basketball? Do they run? I feel like that last sneaker would have to kind of go into that category based on how they live their lives. So like I don't know if there's a last final grail. Like that final grail would have to be personalized to them.
Got it.
Because like if you play ball, it's like either a pair of Currys or a pair of LeBrons, a pair of Kobe's, like or if you work out, is it a pair of Boost or the Alpha Fly 3 or is it like the New Balance 990? Like it's all kind of based on or if you work out, Is it, one of the workout training shoes, the Bo Jacksons, or something like? I feel like that last shoe has to be kind of based on that person, because that way they get the most use out of it. The other four they can just wear whenever, and you can mix and match those and dress them up and dress them down. But for your active lifestyle, that last one is kind of reserved for who you are as a
Got
person.
it. All right, I got one of those.
Yeah, I was like, you got the
I got
shell toes.
one of those.
You got the shell toes.
I got the Stan Smiths.
Okay, cool.
I was about to
The
show
Stan
you
Smith.
all I got the let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've got 5 of their collabs for the golf shoes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And you can dress those up. You can dress them down.
Mm-hmm.
The all white pair. Like, you see people rocking all white pair with suits. Like, you can.
I
mix
wore
them up
those. I wore
any way you
those
want to.
today. I wore those today
Yeah.
at the office.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
it works.
Oregon.
Man.
Y'all know the vibes. I can't switch up. And Adidas is up in Portland, but go shout out to Uncle Phil. One day I'll be on the mailing list at Nike, and Uncle Phil fucking hook me up, and I can't wait. That's what I want.
Not even a pair of Stan Smith.
No, I'll take some. You know what I will take from Adidas? I'll take some of the new Anthony Edwards. Those AEs, the
Okay.
AE ones are, especially the new
AE1.
lows are very, very
Yeah.
nice in person. I did not expect those shoes to be that dope in person.
Okay.
These are
So what would you replace your Stan Smith with?
Myself, Reebok Classic,
Yeah.
Reebok Classic or Nike Cortez.
Oh.
Ooh, I
okay.
did like the Nike Cortez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Saying,
yeah,
like, here
for
in
sure.
LA, it was either Chuck
Or the
Taylor's or
Cortez.
Cortez.
Yeah, so when you said the Chuckies, I was like, yep, that's
Yeah.
it. That's an LA pick.
Yeah. Got
Yeah,
that.
these are probably my favorite Stan Smith collab golf shoes. So the Zozo championship.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, those are
And
nice.
then-
I love those.
And then the one that they did for Wisconsin. When
Yeah.
Cow pack.
People love those ones with the cow pattern. They love those.
So we got into the top 5, and I think that was a very great list of having that last pick be very personalized to the individual. I'm taking notes on that. Obviously, I'm very happy to have one out of the 4 that you mentioned. So we talked about sneakers. We talked about fatherhood. What are your other hobbies? Like for myself and for Blair, we always talk about like the New Girl Show or like the MCU universe or whatever. Like, what's that one thing you kind of geek out about?
It's I like the MCU. Watching MCU movies are dope. I'm a homeowner, so like the DIY space. Like, I never I never thought I would be like on the couch on a Friday night on YouTube watching the dude build a deck in the back of his house, like an hour-long video of him building his deck. But now I'd be like, okay, maybe. I mean, I don't know if I could do it all by myself, but you know what I'm saying? I got some of them tools, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I got a drill, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
the
awesome.
DIY thing is not something that I expected, but it's something that I thoroughly enjoy. So I would say like that's probably like my hobby, like the DIY stuff, and then like I like watching a lot of movies. Um, being in the creator space, I'm always like watching things and also like analyzing things at the same time. So I'm finding I've got to find that break a little. I do think I need to find that break a little more, because I can't enjoy content without thinking, I wonder how I could flip that, or look at the way they shot that. That's a really dope shot. Oh, okay, I could probably recreate that for like a sneaker video. And I got to stop, like, because it takes me out of it, and like you lose some of the enjoyment when it becomes strategy as opposed to just entertainment.
Okay. How is that though? Because not most of your content, but a lot of the content that is out these days are stitches of or remixes of videos on the TikTok space or the Instagram space, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It is how, you know, most content is getting pushed to different markets and different people. So you say it's kind of hard to deal with. Like, is it hard to deal with because you want to turn it off, or is it hard to do because you feel like you need to in order to like keep yourself balanced?
Yeah, the latter, just to try to find the balance. Because if I'm all like, because essentially my creative is work. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That's my 9 to 5, and I it's there is a you know there's a good and the bad, and trust me, there's way more good in the job that I have and what I'm doing than there is bad. But there is, the feeling of like I'm constantly working, like I'm always working. I'm watching I'm watching social media and I'm scrolling through social media, but I'm also looking for clues, looking for tips, looking for information, like looking for trends. Like I'm all like that's still part of my process, as opposed to I feel like somebody that goes to a 9 to 5, if they work at the bank where they off at 5, they ain't got to worry about it no more. You know what I mean? And like that, it's done. Like they can come home and they can just enjoy themselves. They can barbecue and just barbecue. You know what I mean? I barbecue and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, would this be a cool TikTok? Or is this a moment I could share? How could I share this moment? Or maybe I shouldn't share this moment. Yeah, just let's just enjoy, just eat. You know what I mean? Just enjoy the food.
Yeah,
But that's all part of it. That's all part of the constant the constant situation out when you're working in the creative space.
I feel like you were just describing me because I work at a bank and I have a 9 to 5.
Ah,
I literally like, but also we are venturing into this creative space, and so I do find myself scrolling and analyzing content and trying to find like, oh, can we do this with the podcast? And I was
yep.
telling Blair a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm watching ESPN, seeing how they're doing their transitions from one segment to the next, and I'm like, all right, how can we do that? How can we improve? How can we get better? And like, where and when do you find that time to just enjoy it as an audience member instead of a
Yeah,
producer of content?
it's a
yeah,
very
yeah. Like I can't watch golf content
gosh.
because I'm looking at golf content through like three different. I'm looking at it as one. Okay, like okay, how do I make my swing better? Okay, how are they swinging the club? Let me
Hmm.
see. Let me break down how they're doing this.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, man, look at his inside path. Dang, he dropped that right in the spot. Crazy. Wait a second, that was
How
right
do
in
you
the
do
spot. Like,
that?
okay, how do I? Yeah, how he get that? Is he like how? Well, how's he moving his? How's he moving his hips? Like
He
all.
don't look like he
But
can
then also I'm
dance.
thinking
His
that
hips ain't supposed to move like that.
yeah, yeah. And then I'm also looking at it as like okay, why aren't there any black creators in this space doing this? Maybe I should do it. Maybe I should do it. Okay, how many cameras they shooting with? How they mic'd up? Okay, what angles is he getting? Okay, you got a drone. Okay, all right. Oh, okay. So they have a camera behind. They have a camera behind the guy. Then they have another guy with the camera at the green. Okay. Oh, okay. For the tee shot, they have a guy laying low, getting an upshot. Okay, and then they have a guy with the back, and they're using the tracer. Okay, they're probably doing that in After Effects. Yeah, because like motion graphics, they're not doing that live, so they got to do that motion graphics. Oh, they're in the cart. Oh, okay. Oh, conversation in the cart is like, oh, they're using a GoPro. Okay, is it a suction pod? Yeah, they have a suction pod on the glass. Oh no, they don't have a suction pod on the
It's a
glass.
grip.
They have a
Mhm.
clamp. Okay, so doing a grip. They're doing a grip to do it from the
You
side. And audio,
exposing
audio.
all the content creators because I feel like that is the internal monologue of
Every
like,
last one of
how
us.
do I recreate what they're doing and add my own flavor
And
to
that's
it?
And it's all going through my head. It's like, okay, how can I do this? Okay, who could I do this with? Okay, maybe me. Okay, maybe me, Ube, and Brad. Oh, what about Raj? Maybe we bring Raj in. I don't know. Oh, we could
I'd
also get
watch that
Aaron.
special.
Aaron's
I'd watch
dope.
that special.
Yeah, so like that's the thing, like and like so like that's and I watch a lot of golf content and because of that, and then like once you get past the technical stuff, I start I start looking at it as okay, how are they keeping me here? Oh,
mm,
okay, so they're creating some tension. How they're creating tension that I want to see how it resolves. Oh, okay, he doesn't know. Okay, they're trying to break 62, or they're trying to break 70 this time. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Ooh, all right. That was a bad shot. Now how they're going to
yeah.
recover? Okay, it's a 60 degree. I got at 60. I'm 50 yards out. I'm going to try to use a 60 and just kind of nip it up there and see what I can do. Here's the shot. Like okay, look at that. Like how are they keeping me in with the storytelling details that they're doing? How are they keep the tension drawn in? Okay, he probably missed that putt on purpose because he knew if he makes that putt, it's going to give too much of a gap, and so people are not going to believe that it's still tight. So you miss the putt a little bit, give it a little extra push it a little bit to the. Okay, all right, I like that. It's how like as a creator, once you understand the process of creating, like that's what I'm saying. It's hard for me. Like I would love just to sit down and just watch a golf video for what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't. I can't because I'm breaking it down and thinking, man, God, I've got to get some content with I've got to create this with me and some black creators and and Troy. Like, why can't we get Troy? Troy, well, not now because she's pregnant,
Yeah.
but before she was pregnant. But like, why can't me, Troy, Brad, and Raj do this, or me, Troy, me and Ube, and then like there's the different kind of golf creators. There's like the Bob Does Sports, and there's the good guys. Then there's like the Busted Jack. Then there's like the Bryan Bros. Like it's like all of these different angles, and you try to like, okay, how do we fit into that, and how do we tell the story that's going to keep an audience watching it? And so I'm forever analyzing um, this kind of content,
Yeah.
which is, sorry for rambling about all
No,
that, but
that's
just to
No,
give you
that
a
was
glimpse
great.
into my brain.
and that's literally this. That's what this is for. When you do it, when you shoot your content, how do you keep people involved or keep people attracted to the video long enough to say, I'll follow for more?
Yeah, I think part is you try to like the main thing of everything that I create. The main thing is I try to provide value. Like after you watch one of my videos, either you learn something new, you have a new perspective on something, whether you agree with it or not. I just try to provide some sort of value to you to enrich the experience for you.
Yeah.
Like that's the core purpose of all of the things. But then I try to make it pretty in some way. Sometimes I try to make it pretty. If I have like a production, I try to make it pretty and make it fun and make it look really nice. But if it's not, that's when the value proposition goes higher. Like, what more value can I add? Can I make it funny? What can I say that's funny? That's where the whole "Would you look at this? Would you
Mm-hmm.
look?
Would you
Would
look
you
at
look
this?
at it?" Like
Yeah.
that's what, yeah, like that's where that whole thing came from. Just to try to hook people up front and never reveal in that first part how I actually feel about it. Let them force them in a sense to watch the rest of the
Yeah.
video to get my perspective on it. So the "would you look at this" is not because it's either bad or good. It's just because this is something interesting, guys. Like this is and would you look at like I need you to look at
Yeah.
this, and then go into this is the blankety blank. And even then, at that first part, I try not to give away too much, but just give them enough, like the Nigel shoe. Would you look? This is Nigel Sylvester. He's a BMX pro and he signed a Jordan Brand, and he just gave us the first look at this shoe. So right now we're already 7 to 10 seconds in, and I haven't even told you how I feel
Yeah.
about it yet. All I've told you is what's happening in the video. And then at that point, then I try to start to trickle in my thoughts and my opinions on what's going on, or I explain the shoe a little bit and give you a little bit of my opinion, but really I try not to shape too much of what you would think of the shoe, because I don't want to be the arbiter of your style or the arbiter of what you consider to be cool. I want you to be able to make that decision on your own. So I try not to push you in either way too much, just give you more information and sprinkle in some of my just bias that's just naturally there and that's going to come out anyway.
Whoa. Hold on just a second. Before we dive any further into the episode, we got to take a quick moment to thank you, the amazing Father Time family, for tuning in. We seriously appreciate you hanging out with us and exploring the wild world of fatherhood as we try to balance it with relationships, careers, and passions, and all the glorious chaos that comes with it. Now, if we discuss something today that sparked a question or maybe even a personal story you'd like to share, don't be shy. Drop some knowledge in the comments or slide in the DMs. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, and be sure to follow us at FatherTimePod on all social media platforms for exclusive content, behind the scenes, and much, much more. You won't want to miss it. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We wouldn't want you to miss out on a single dose of Father Time wisdom or laughs. We try our best. All right, that's enough from us. Let's get back to the episode. Peace. what what are you working on or creating now that's just for you? Like obviously you talk about how you create and that's your job. Do you do anything that you create that's for you that you do create out of the pure enjoyment of it all?
Uh,
I mean, I know you
no,
said you can't draw a circle. I didn't know if there was anything that you were working on.
no. I mean, maybe, I mean, like probably like the DIY stuff, probably, but that's really it. Every once in a while, I mean, I'll write a song every once in a while, but like I never like keep them. It's more just like I'll hear a beat or something and like a verse. Like I don't know if you guys create music, but the way that I create is I'll hear music and like I'll let the music basically tell me the story or how to feel, and I use that to kind of dictate where the verse goes and where the chorus kind of goes. Like some people write songs ahead of time, and I've done that before, but for me, it's more of if I hear something, whatever I hear in the
Yeah.
music is kind of what comes
It's
out.
hard to force a
So I'll do,
pre-written verse into a beat that you just heard today.
yeah. Yeah, like that, and that's part of it too. Like if you have a verse, like you wrote that verse with some sort of music in a
Mm-hmm.
sense in your head, and if that music doesn't fit, it's harder to create. So I kind of let the music dictate, and so I'll do that every once in a while. Um, I'll take some photos every once in a while and just do fun stuff. Like it's spring now, and like I saw some. We have an apple tree in our backyard, and there was some bees pollinating, like just going around pollinating, and I was out with the dog waiting for the dog to use the bathroom, and I'm looking at the bees pollinating, and I was thinking, I was like, I should create like a nature documentary, but it'd be like really hood
Like Snoop Dogg, like the Snoop Dogg
documentary.
documentary.
Yeah, probably like yeah, like a little bit like Snoop of like these bees.
Hey, cuz, look at these
Like this is
bees, cuz.
yeah. Just being
Just
real ghetto.
frolicking
Like
around out here.
oh
Just
yeah, this is B Baxter. This is B Nadeep. You know what I'm saying? Like just all these different names for these bees, and maybe pollinating and just give them a whole backstory in their lives. But that's
then
kind
you
of
end up being a
it's
voiceover dude from now on. Now you're away from golf. You're a
yeah, just a
voiceover
voiceover.
guy.
Yeah. And like that idea was something that I did probably 7 years ago. We were working on the backyard, and these ants were like carrying a bunch of stuff. And so I did one of those. I forgot what's his name, the guy that does the nature documentaries for the BBC. But like I did this like 1 minute documentary of this ant. Like I went, came, ran in the house, got my camera because I have a macro
Mm-hmm.
lens, and so I followed this ant through this whole journey of him going to get this little piece of bread and taking it back all the way, and then like there was like a sub story because he was like carrying all this stuff, but there was these two ants that were just like crawling around on this flower, and like they were just like kind of chilling and hanging out on the flower, and like they were watching him work, and so it was like, but
Hey, this man legit created a mini docu-series with emotion and
I
passion and some fight in there.
I would
yeah,
watch
like it's
that.
just
Yeah,
like
I was about to say,
like he
like,
was
post
working
it.
on
I'll
like
watch it.
I've got to find
Yo,
it. I posted it a long time ago. This was probably 7, 8 years ago, and and when I originally posted, some of the people that I work with, that I had worked with in the past, and it was like it's funny how stories often tell stories about you when you tell stories, and they were because when I first started in the sneaker business, I wasn't with a big organization when I started doing it on my own in 2013. So I would go to these events, and like they would have their own cameraman, and they would have like a writer there. Sometimes they would have a producer and be two people or whatever. And then they have somebody back at the office working on the website. And I was doing it all on my own. And so I would come and I would shoot the same event that they shot. And then like that night, they'd be like, "Yo, let's go out, go to dinner." And I'd be like, I got to edit. And I wouldn't go out and hang out with everybody because I had to do the work. And so my buddy Nick, when he saw the ant thing, he was like, "You're basically talking about yourself and everybody else at these events." And I was like,
A subtle
like,
shot
man,
without doing a shot.
yeah, Yeah, but it wasn't even really taking a shot, but it was more of like a story. I was trying to tell a story, but my life experience kind of came out within that story.
So how, like, where did that connection come with the PGA Tour? Because we all know they are very strict and set in their ways. How can they get the full version of Jacques while also, I guess, like, you being in their bubble? So, like, how did it come about, and how did you stay you while doing the content?
It came about because there was a guy named Nelson at the PGA Tour who's actually a sneakerhead. Like he's like really like super into sneakers, has a really dope collection, knows the story, knows the history, loves kicks, and so he started following me just on the sneaker
Mm-hmm.
shit. And then I started posting golf stuff as I got more into golf, and he was like, "Oh, you like golf?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, like I'm into it." So he hit me in the DMs, and he was like, "Yo, I work for the PGA Tour. Um, if there's an opportunity for us to work together, let's try and do something." And that was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And over time, we just started talking, throwing ideas back and forth. And we finally got to a point where we felt like, oh, okay, this is something we can do. We started small. I did a video for them called about the history of golf kicks or golf shoes or what they looked like before and how they've transformed over time, the history of golf style from the past into the future. Then we started doing a show called Voices that was about um, stories in golf that you haven't necessarily heard, but that have been impacted the sport in immeasurable
Mm-hmm.
ways. And then that transformed into what I'm doing now, where I'm hosting the cut for the signature events, as and being able to tell my story through that. So they allow me full, pretty much, I guess, dexterity to tell the stories and present the information the way that I want to
Nice.
put it. I work with the producers on their side. We put together the script, and I go through it and I go, is there a hip hop reference I can make here, or is there a basketball reference that I can make here to bring it all together? Is there a sneaker reference here? Is there a famous quote that I can bring in? Is there a movie line that I could bring in? One of the things that like I didn't think would get approved, but they were fine with it was at Arnold Palmer at the Arnold Palmer invitation. The Arnold Palmer will wear this red alpaca
Mm-hmm.
sweater. That was kind of like his thing. And when I heard alpaca, it made me go to Denzel.
You
And
blocked
so
that
I
shit.
was able, yeah,
$5,000
exactly,
alpaca. You blocked that shit.
exactly, exactly. I was like, and so I got to say, you see this alpaca on my shoulders, you got to block that. So and that's part of the show. You know what I mean? So it's like those moments. They're open to allowing me to bring in um, the culture that I'm exposed to into the world of golf and really help mesh and mingle those two. So that they've taught me a lot. Like they give me more information about golf than I ever would have gotten on my own. So it gives me information that I can pass on, but that also I'm able to bring in my community and bring in the things that I know my community would appreciate, or the small things that my community would be like, I know what that's
Yeah.
from, kind of thing, to bring that into a show that's typically only for golf nerds. Like we just did one at Heritage, and one of the other big sneakerheads is this guy named Fomer Simpson. I don't know if you guys know Fomer
No.
Simpson, but Fomer is a big sneakerhead. He's from New York, but he lives in Florida now. And one of the things he always says when he puts up a shoe, he goes bang bang, like that's his thing. Every time he sees you, so there was a cannon, and so I got to start the show going bang bang. Now that's how you start a tournament. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So like all the people in the sneaker community, they get to they get those pieces
That's dope.
of the world that they know, and it's integrated into the golf world, and it just really changes the perspective and gets people involved in a different way.
yeah. That's a beautiful thing, brother, because we talk about it a lot, like organically and off camera a lot, organically, like what organically growing the game looks like. I got into it solely based off of the, like, a year before the pandemic. And then once the pandemic happened, that was the only thing I could do to get out the house and be, sane.
Yeah.
Um, so for the first 3 years, I was just going to golf courses, hitting balls, talking to people. Wasn't playing good or any of that stuff. And even now, it's like, do I care about golf or do I care about the camaraderie that comes with it? The ability to show a 20-something or a 10 out here in Oregon, like, yo, the homie pulled up in military blue 4s playing golf. That's a trap golf hat. I know that hat. I've seen that hat. He got the Jeep.
Yeah.
He legit popped the Jeep up, speakers blasting. He's putting his shoes on, and this is at Diamond Woods. And if you know, you know. This is Diamond Woods, bro. Like, you're not supposed to come here like that. But that's how I have to show up, because as an athlete, I listen to hip hop music before my game. I listen to the club up before I went. You know, so I in order for me to, I guess, like, feel a part of this game naturally, I have to align myself with the way I was before. Not saying that I'm trying to disrespect the game, but I'm bringing to the game of golf as a non-professional, as somebody who's playing at munis, I'm bringing to the game what should be brought to the game at a very base level. Fun. Nigga, I'm out here. We smoking cigars and we blasting the speakers if it's okay with everybody that's a part of our group, and we gonna have fun, bro. And that was a bad shot, bro. Drop another one right there, hit it again. Now, don't worry about looking at the ball, nigga. Like, you got 6 sets of eyes out here. Your 2 ain't gonna make no difference. Hit the fucking ball. We got it for you. Like, that's the type of, like, grow the game for me. So to know that you're able to authentically still be Jacques when you go into these places, it gives me, and I know it gives D the same feeling, as we don't have to change who we are to get where we want to be.
Yeah, and that's the revolution that golf is going through now. Is people are getting into golf. People that are getting into golf don't feel like they need to conform to what golf has traditionally been presented as, and they can play as their full authentic selves. And that isn't. I think you said it. It's not really to change the game. I like to say it's to widen the aperture of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I'm taking notes, like, and it kind of goes back to you analyzing content. Like, I'm hearing all these things, and this is, I don't want to say the first time I'm learning from a dad as experienced as you, but, like, it is on the podcast. So I'm taking mental notes for myself. I'm taking notes on for the podcast. Like, you're talking about how you're analyzing and telling stories, and I'm just absorbing all of what you're talking to me. Like, I'm just getting all the advice from you. And that's with what Blair was saying, is like, we wanted to create this podcast in order to be a bridge to other links of fathers that can shed light and provide knowledge on an experience that they may be having or how they can apply it to their life. And so, yo, Blair, keep asking questions. Like, I'm taking notes over here, but the only thing I had, my only other question was going to be, I mean, he said he liked bacon. I want to know, like, how much you like bacon and where's the best place you've gotten bacon from.
It's got to cut back.
So I eat. Look. If I could only eat bacon, I would only.
Hey,
eat
brother,
bacon.
for you to have such good skin, bacon. You look like that, and you love bacon. Maybe I need to eat bacon more.
Love bacon. Look, I love bacon so much.
Does Pharrell also eat bacon? Because I'm seeing this in the
I was like, obviously.
The skincare routine is on point.
Like, I love bacon so much that I've, like, the last couple of weeks, I've started watching videos about how I can make my own bacon.
There we go.
Like, that's how far I'm in.
You got a smoker?
So I do.
There you go. That's step one.
Yeah.
My guy's DIYing bacon.
Hey, bro, I can't wait to get a house, because I'm going to be the same way. The day I buy a house is the day I'm going to be this dad every Saturday. Hands on the hips, is outside at 6 o'clock. What the? Yeah. What needs to be fixed?
We're in that
like,
space
you get up
now.
early, you be like, I got a lot of things done before 9 o'clock. I used to be asleep till 9.
I was waking up now.
I done changed the light bulb. I done changed some of the light sockets. I done adjusted the sprinklers.
Yes, sir.
I moved the furniture in the backyard, and I made sure the spa was ready. Like, what?
Somebody,
These kids in here sleep. Let me go wake
somebody up. Now I see why my parents woke us up at 9 o'clock. What the hell y'all doing? Sleep still.
Yeah, that's when you hit your kid with the Would you look at this?
Would you look
Would you
at
look
this?
at this?
And they ain't gonna care. They're gonna be like, what?
Get
What?
out of my room, daddy. Trying to play
Right.
Toka Boca. So, getting back to the parenting thing, being a parent and having children of different ages, and now being a grandparent, what do you see in your children or your child, whoever is raising the baby? What do you see in them that you saw or see in yourself, and and how hard is it? This is a two-parter. I love giving two-parters. And how hard is it for you to, because we know that we heard you say earlier that it was hard for you to sit back when it came to basketball. You were a parent, probably a better parent than you were a basketball player. How hard is it for you to step back from trying to overparent now that they're a parent?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Um, I'm gonna start with the second question because that's a challenge because you want to help them, but you also want them to learn. Um, and, and then you think about like how much you didn't want your own parents to parent you while you were trying to parent your kids, and it's definitely a balancing act because you'll you'll see them do something and just be like, oh, dude, this is a nice night.
Hey, is the sky blue? It is nighttime, Daddy. I know it
It
is
is,
That
so
is a nice
blue.
bowl.
it is so nice out here. Um, but you need to see them. You need to let them fail in a sense so that they can pick up and find the pieces so that they know better. They know why it's better. Um, so that part is definitely it's definitely a challenge, but you also appreciate the growth that you see them go through. You appreciate the changes that are happening within them, and you like see the maturity and the mental growth that they go through this process. You see how they like you'll. I think one of the I guess the coolest things is you see them understand love in a different way. And that is just like it'll bring tears to your eyes. Just you see them understand what love means. Because they've always loved you as parents. They love their girlfriend, they love their wife. But the child, there's a different kind of a kind of love. And we live by the philosophy that love isn't a feeling. Love is an action. Love is what you do. Love is the choices that you make. Love isn't the emotional response that happens. Love is action. We think like, in John 3:16 is God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. It wasn't God so loved the world that he did nothing. God so loved the world that he took an action. He made a choice to do something. And so I see love through that lens. And so when I see my son and his wife, when I see the actions that they take, like you kind of sit back and like there's a pride that one you feel like, okay, I've done a good job. They're not going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes, but you've imparted what they needed to grow. And Will said it best. It's like you water this flower and you never know how tall that flower is going to grow or how short that flower is going to grow, how soon it's going to bloom, how late it's going to bloom. But all you do is you give it all the tools that it needs in order to grow. You can't control what it grows into.
Yeah.
You just hope that it grows into the thing that you want it to be. And like when you see your kids understand love and learn love in that way, and a child does that to you, like it's one of the most rewarding things that I think I've ever experienced.
Yeah, that was beautiful because as you were saying that, it reminded me of what my like what my stepfather and my mentors have always told me is like the seeds that we water right now will never see grow, but like if you give them, if you water these seeds properly, give them the nutrients, like we're building oak trees. We're not building like we are oak trees. I am the oak tree of
Yeah,
my great great grandfather, and my daughter is going to
yeah,
be the oak tree of, my great grandfather, and I'm the I'm the water for someone else. So it's beautiful to hear you say that because it
yeah.
hits different,
And
right?
that's a tough thing. Yeah, it's a tough thing, you know. Like we are naturally selfish
Mhm.
individuals, and we want to see the growth from the seeds that we
Yeah,
planted. But you can't look at it that way. Your job, or our job, is to do the work.
yeah.
The fruits of that labor, that's down the line. You do the good work, you put in the good seed, you do the good nurturing, and do all those things, and hope that it grows into something
You can
that benefits the
you can
world.
rest with good hope, or you can rest with good knowledge, knowing that you've given it everything to grow strong.
Yes.
If you do all those things, damn,
Yeah.
heavy one on the
And
outro.
and
That
and
was heavy.
you have to be comfortable knowing that it may not go the way you want it
That's parenting 101. If I could
to. It
give anybody
may
advice,
not
if I
go.
could give anybody advice, like it is not going to go the way you want it to. Like what you have envisioned for
Yes.
your child is not what your child is going to be. Unless you force it, then they're going to be an unhappy baby and an unhappy human being. You're going to have to pay for a lot of therapy. But let them niggas be them. Before we
Yeah.
get up out of here,
Let them be
before
them.
we get up out of here, you've given us so many dad gems and so many great pieces of advice. What is one piece of advice that you would give to yourself at De'Meco's stage? So at the 16-month stage, you're still nervous, feet in the water. Like, what would you tell De'Meco at this point?
Um, that's a great question. Um, I think is I would say to gosh, that's a great question. It's hard. There's so many things like I want to tell you, but there's also things like I don't want to influence the way you would do things. Um, because you have a different lived experience than I do, and you have different morals, different values. You know, some may align and some may not. So I would say enjoy it because it'll be gone before you know it. Enjoy it because it'll be gone before you know it. Because we often as parents get so caught up in the day to day and everything that's going on that we don't ever sit back and appreciate everything that's happening and in that moment. Because when I say it'll be gone before you know it, like she's 16 months now, before you know it, she'll be 5, and you'll be like, how is she fucking 5 already? Like what happened? How is she 5 now? So you have to like just enjoy it because it feels like that. It feels like that. So enjoy the moment. Take time to like just bask in the moments that you're having now and like hug them like they ain't gonna want it, and that's okay. For real. They ain't gonna want it. They ain't gonna want you hugging
Yeah,
them all the time. They ain't gonna want you
especially
being
right
around them
now.
all the time. Especially right now. Like you're just enjoy enjoy it. Hug them, love them, let them know. Like think about all the things that you worry about, that you're concerned about. Hug them, love them, and give them the tools to be there so that they don't have to worry about those things. Yeah. See, they'll be that age before you know it. Like 16 months now. Next thing you know, she'll be that
Yeah,
big, and you'll be like, wait a minute, how are you 7 already?
yeah, yeah. That's where we're at right now. It's hugging as much as possible, but realizing she's big enough where she's running around now, and that's all she wants to do. She's like, no, I want down now. I don't want to hug now. And so yeah, I that's all I can do is enjoy it because I don't know how it's going to turn out. Like we talked about, you watering that plant, you don't know what it's going to grow to be, and just yeah, the phrasing that you use, basking in that energy.
Yeah,
I can really take that. That's awesome, and the way that you started that piece of advice of not wanting to sway, it's like no, like you're being very authentic, and everyone's life experiences determine how they parent and how their parents were with them. Like it all bleeds into who you are now, and that's always been something that I've talked about even with Blair is like my dad, I think he's probably a little hard on himself because he thinks I probably should have turned out different than what I did, like his version of success. And I'm like,
mm,
no, like I turned out okay. Like I'm happy. I'm happy,
yeah,
and that in itself is like your job is done. I know you like as a dad, like, and you can probably attest this, like you feel like your job as a dad is never done.
never.
But but at the point I'm at right now in my life, like just know you gave me the tools to be where I am right now. Like because I
Yes,
feel as comfortable and confident in this skin that I'm in now, I'm like, you did the job. Like
yeah,
I'm good. Like just relax and enjoy being a granddad if that's something that you can do. Like I get it, but yeah, no, I appreciate that the beginning part because it wasn't advice. It was just like you will figure what is right out for you as a dad, and this is to somebody that maybe isn't where I'm at, but months before this, like you just found out your partner is pregnant. Like just follow your gut. Like just you got this. Like
yeah,
I appreciate that opening part of it because it really speaks
yeah.
to the various different degrees of fatherhood that exist in this
Yeah,
world that
it's
we're in.
crazy. Yeah. Follow like, and I'm trying to find the right way to say this is um like follow their pain points. Like I wish this is something that I think I would do differently is like when they're in trouble is chastise them and discipline them, but also talk to them afterwards and give them an explanation and give them an understanding. Because I think that that helps later down the line when they're older, when there's trouble or when there's problems, if they feel comfortable enough being able to come back to you and talk to you, it's something that you'll appreciate. And maybe now it's hard when they're being bad and just be like, sit down, stop, and and they kind of draw up and they're like, what's wrong? Like, why are you like so mad? You're just like, sit down, quiet. Like I a lot of the times, a lot of times those responses are because of things that we're going through, not because of actually what they're doing. It's because we're
Yeah.
going through something, or we're annoyed, or we're upset, or
Yeah,
we're being bothered.
that's when you get hit with the because I said so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Try to get beyond the because I said so.
Got it. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's a great piece of advice. The last thing we usually ask our guests is, um, Jacques, if you could recommend somebody to get some much needed father time, who do you think we should have on the podcast next?
Let me see. So Ray's a good guy. Who else is a dad that I know is a dad? You guys had John on, LeJethro
Yeah,
Jenkins.
yeah. We had Lejethro on.
Okay.
He'll be the season premiere of season 2.
Let me see who else. Um, Ray's the only person I can think of right now for some reason.
Okay,
Um,
that's enough.
yeah, Ray's a good dude. Ray's a good
All
dude.
right, Ray, we coming.
Uh, yeah,
All right, well, like we said, guys, we could have had Jacques on all night, talk to him for forever. Again, especially me. So I appreciate everybody, including Jacques, his family, De'Meco, for being here. thank you all for showing up, man. You could have been anywhere in the world, but decided to watch the pod. Make sure you hit the like, share, subscribe button, and share this with somebody who you think might need some much needed Father time. For myself, De'Meco and Jacques, I am your player, party host of the most. I love you guys. Make sure you tell somebody you love them. Peace.